So we have looked at the course outline. So week one, this is what we shall be doing in week one. We already have the course outline, so I wouldn't dwell much here. But today we shall be looking at a general introduction to Excel for some of us who may be new to Excel. Excel basically, as we just heard, is basically used for calculation. Basically, we would say Excel is used for calculation, but Excel in itself is an analytical tool. So when you are doing analysis, it goes beyond just calculating something, but it actually has its deep roots in helping you make something meaningful out of a huge amount of data, which we call data sets. So Excel isn't just for calculations. At times you find people using Excel just to do probably some addition and subtraction of numbers. That is all. But as a matter of fact, Excel goes beyond that. Excel can help you actually analyze data, and then at the same time help you make meaningful results or get meaningful results out of the data that you have analyzed. So like we have here, we say Excel is used for calculating. Excel is used in accounting for budget, for forecast, for expenses, expense tracking, financial reports, and for loan calculations. Excel can also help you create charts, line graphs, bar graphs, column charts, and all that. This is to tell you that Excel actually brings data to life. Excel brings data to life. There is now, since 20, or let's say since 2000, there has been a huge drive towards data analysis. Since 2000, there has been a huge drive towards data analysis. But no one can deny the fact that Excel is the mother of all data analysis tools. Excel has been around since time immemorial. Every analytical tool you find today, even almighty SPSS, all had some kind of um, inspiration from Microsoft Excel. So we say that Excel is a data analytical tool. It's not just for calculating, it's not just for budgeting and forecasting. We put everything together. It helps you analyze data and it helps you bring data to life. So there's one thing we normally get confused with: spreadsheets and Excel, or spreadsheets. People tend to confuse what spreadsheet is and what Excel is. At times, people use them interchangeably. They say that Excel is a spreadsheet, or when you say Excel, you mean spreadsheet. When you say spreadsheet, you mean Excel. It will surprise all of us to know that we have all been dealing with spreadsheets right from day nursery, or let's say KG1 or class 1. When we started using our box booklets, we actually started spreadsheets from there. So like Cosmos said, spreadsheets basically, when we come down, spreadsheets is anything. It's like a document or any object that has rows and columns for actually defining data. Data is not only the huge data that we have. Even when you write 1+1, it's data. When you write 1, it's data. It's information that you have given out. So basically, a spreadsheet is actually an object that has rows and columns, and it helps in the organization of raw data. So from class 1, we have been doing spreadsheets with our box. Then we come to JSS, or those of us who went to JSS, those of us who went to GHS. We came to the is it the middle school? Let me put it that way. We came to the middle school. Then we started using graph sheets. You go to some institutions, they have ledger books divided into rows, columns. All these are spreadsheets, as a matter of fact. So Excel now becomes a spreadsheet. Spreadsheets are not Excel, but Excel is a spreadsheet. You say that a spreadsheet is a computer program that can capture, display, and manipulate data arranged in rows and columns. That is to say that if you are interchangeably using Excel as a spreadsheet all the time, you may be wrong, or you are actually wrong. That to say Excel is sorry, a spreadsheet is Excel. There are different spreadsheets, and I've given you some of the manual spreadsheets that we've been using since time immemorial when we were kids. We've been using our box, we've been using our graph, and since we came up, some of us entered into the industry. Some of us did started practicing accounting as a profession and all that. We have been using spreadsheets. Or like your ledger book is a spreadsheet actually. It is generally designed to hold numerical data in short text strings. So we have examples such as MS Excel, Microsoft Excel that we know. Then Google Sheets, which is also a variant of the sheets from Google. It's basically online, and I know a lot of you have been interacting with Google Sheets here, and there are times you will have some platforms that will ask you to go and fill a Google Sheet. Then we have LibreOffice, we have WPS. LibreOffice actually their spreadsheet, they call it calc. They call it calc, CALC. So calc is also another variant of a spreadsheet. When you go to WPS, they call their spreadsheet. They call their spreadsheet. That is WPS. I think the company that has been producing the WPS of suit, the WPS suit is Kingsoft also. Yeah, Kingsoft. So you can check them out too. But the most popular amongst all of them is MS Excel. When you go to LibreOffice, I think Google Sheets, yeah, let me start from Google Sheets. Google Sheets has contains one of the most powerful functions, and like it has some powerful features in there that when you are using the normal Excel sheet, you may not get. All of them have their own merits, their strengths, and their weaknesses. So whilst we are working along the line, you know why you settle on A or B. Now, let's go to our next session where we take a tour of the entire Microsoft Excel interface. This is the Excel interface. Probably everyone watching right now has seen this at a point, maybe in school or in his line of work, since there are no ladies here, in his line of work. So this is the general interface. This entire place where I am highlighting is actually your work area. The entire place I have highlighted, if you click here, you will get everything. It's your work area. This is where you basically do everything you need to do in Excel. Since Excel is a spreadsheet and we have already understood what spreadsheets are, Excel is controlled by columns and rows. So we organize data in Excel using our columns, which run from top to down, and our rows, which run from left to right, or let's say right to left. Saying that the Excel interface, the work area, is actually made up of rows and columns. Now, an intersection of one row and one column is what creates a cell. So where I am picking right now, where I am selecting right now are cells. It's an intersection of this row and that column. So this row and that column, the rows are named in alphabets. You can actually change. We'll go and look at that. The rows are named in alphabets. Basically, the rows are named in alphabet. We call it, that is the type of referencing here. It's like it is the alphabet and then the column name and then the row number. So with the column name and then the row number that make up um, the interface itself. Where they meet, so this is column B and this is row 3. Where column B and row 3 are meeting, it's a cell. It's a cell. Where column B and row 3 are meeting is a cell. And when they meet, they create a name. They create a name. And the name can be found in this area called the name box. The name box. So the name box here is B3. If I select here, I will have H3. When we check, if we say we are actually going to look at the number of rows we have, let me minimize this. So Excel basically has over 1 million, over, sorry, I said 1 million, over 100,000 rows. And the column has escaped me, but the column, look at the column, how it is being named. Is from column A to column XFD. Somebody should do the math for us. Column A to column XFD. This is to tell you that there is no amount of data that you can bring here. Like you are working in an organization, you are working within a firm. There is no amount of data you bring here that may not be able to be contained here. Yes, Excel is that powerful. So to get to the last end of every cell, the last end of the Excel work area, the last cell in an Excel work area. Let's say you are in column A, or you are in the cell A1. You are in cell A1, and you want to go to the last cell in that column. Just press Control and press the down arrow key, and it will automatically take you there. Control and then down arrow key, and it will automatically go to the last row, in the work area. Then you press up, it will bring you to the control up will bring you to column E1. Now you see the way these columns they are named. There is another type of naming that we call the R1C1 referencing. Normally it is R1 reference. People shorten it R1 reference, but it's R1C1 referencing. Now to be able to change as a software developer myself, when I am working with Excel, I normally do not stick to this type of reference like the A, B, C, D, because when I'm programming, what I am programming actually needs some kind of logic to run on. And most of the logics, it understands the R1, or it is easier for you to manipulate use Excel sheet using the R1 referencing. To do that, you come to your file, then you come to options. When you come to options, just come to formulas. Now, when you come to formulas, you will see this R1C1 reference style. This is what we are seeing on the screen right now is the basic reference style. But where I am going right now, give you the R1C1 reference style. Yeah. All right. Let me go back. I was saying that basically Excel is referenced according to column and row, the column name and then the row number. So if we have this cell, it is cell C3, like we are seeing here, cell C3. This cell is cell F6. But this is the basic naming style, the basic referencing style, column and then row. But you can actually change it to look differently. You can change it to look differently. And the other option aside this one is what we call the R1C1 referencing. Actually, that R1C1 referencing is quite technical, but you must know so that you know that this is not the only option of referencing in Excel. To be able to change the referencing style you have right now to the R1C1, that one you use actually calculations. For that one, if you are a mathematician, a very good one. When I tell people I'm not a mathematician, they doubt, but like Chris knows I'm not a mathematician. So when you are a very in-depth mathematician. When you are using R1C1, you go forward, you calculate. You actually use calculations to go forward and back. Most programming languages understand that kind of referencing style. So to do that, you go to your file, you click on file, you go to options. Then in options, you come to formulas. Formulas. So in formulas, when you click formulas, you are going to see R1C1 reference style. R1C1 reference style. So you select it. Once you select and click OK, when you come back, you realize that right now the row has been numbered 1, 2, 3. Column has also been numbered 1, 2, 3. This will even help us to actually know the number of columns in Excel. So it brings us to what we did previously. I said you click control, you hold, click, press and hold control. Then this time around, we are going to use the right button, the right arrow key. The right arrow key, you click on it or you press on it, then it will automatically send you to the last column. So there are actually 16,384 columns. 16,384 columns in Excel. So this is the R1C1. So the R simply stands for row and the C simply stands for column. R1C1. So row 1, column 1, row 2, column 1, row 3, column 1. So you can see, look inside the name box. Look inside the name box. So you have row 1, row 4, column 1, row 5. So if I move, you see that the column is now changing. And this one actually, personally, it makes you understand where you are working from, which row you are working in, which column you are working in. But referencing this one also demands a little bit of knowledge in like mathematics. Your mathematics should be a bit strong here. So that's about the naming style in Excel, the cells, naming how cells are named in Excel. So the name box will show you the cell name. There is name ranging, like renaming the cells in Excel. We haven't gotten there yet. When we get to formulas, we will look at that. Now, today we are looking at the interface. So now, these are the sheet tabs. Each one, what you are seeing now is the workbook. When you open an Excel file like this, you have actually created a workbook. So this workbook is called hands-on. Hands-on. So we have actually created an entire workbook. So this is like in your office, this is like the ledger book that you use in your office. The workbook here is your ledger book. Now each sheet, as you flip your ledger book, you are flipping sheets. So these tabs you see down here represent sheets. If not for the fact that, okay, let's create a new Excel. So this is a new Excel workbook. As you can see, there is sheet 1. Sheet 1. So this sheet 1 represents one sheet. So the one sheet represents one sheet in your ledger book or one page in your ledger book. Let me use it that way. One page in your ledger book. When you want to create more of these sheets, you just use this plus sign down here to create a new sheet. So you just click it and it will create another sheet. You click, it will create another sheet. You click, it will create sheet. So it is renaming based on the first one that we created. So sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, all of them can contain different data. All of them can contain different data. And all of them probably you'll be using them to do different things. So that is what we see here with the one I was working with before I switched to the new one that I created. So we have interface, we have hands-on, we have autofill, we have flash fill. Like all of them contain different kinds of information. We shall be going through all these things later on. Now I want to use the new worksheet to show you one or two things. The worksheets, the workbook we have here, and their worksheet. This first worksheet is called sheet 1. Probably I want it to store the names of my employees. So I want to rename it. You can simply double click this and then type, give it a different name like employee. You double click and then name it employee. So here is probably going to contain the names of my employees. Probably I'll give it name, age, something of the sort. Then I'll just type their names and age or something, anything that I wish to put in there. Here, probably I want it to contain salary or yes, salary, or let's say allowances, something like that. So you can actually rename this sheet. If you don't want to double click, you can just right click. You can send your mouse, you can put your mouse on the or click on the tab and then right click. Once you right click, there's an option for you to rename the sheet. So you can simply click once you see it is highlighted. You can start typing anything that you wish to type in there. Now you can copy these sheets, you can delete them. One thing about deleting worksheets is that before you delete a worksheet, make sure you don't need it. Before you delete an Excel worksheet, make sure you don't need the sheet. Because the sheets one deleted cannot be retrieved. And Excel, I think that is one thing probably Microsoft will have to work around and see if you can't mistakenly delete a sheet because you would definitely be prompted. So you cannot tell me you mistakenly deleted a sheet. So okay, let's leave Microsoft out of this because they are prompting us. So before you delete a sheet, make sure that you don't need the sheet. If you delete, you cannot retrieve. You can copy this sheet. You can actually move or copy the sheet. You can move this sheet to a different workbook. You can use the sheet to create a different workbook. Let's go through that. As for the top here, the reason why I am not coming here now, that is what we will be doing for the rest of the evening. The reason why I haven't come here now is that for a for but a few features up there, most of the things you see here can be found in other parts of the Microsoft Office suite. Access, Word, some of the features are in there. So for some of them, we won't even be touching on them, we'll just be skipping them. Good. But for some of these technicalities, we need to know how they operate. So this employee sheet, for instance, like I said, this is a worksheet, like your ledger book sheet. This employee sheet, for instance, maybe I want to create a copy of it. Probably I'm coming to do something in here that I may encounter some problems and may want to delete it. But when I delete it, I would want the old data to remain. You can simply right click and say move or copy. As for this, you already know what it does. Delete is delete, rename is rename. So I can actually move or copy this sheet. So the employee sheet, once you click move or copy, now it gives you this interface and asks you whether you want to move or you want to copy. Good. If you want to move the sheet, probably I want to move it to the end of my workbook like this. So the workbook I'm working with is workbook 1. So if I want to move it to the end of my workbook, I just select move to end. Then I click OK. Then it now switches from being the first sheet to the last sheet. Likewise, if you don't want to go through all these long process, just double click and hold and then drag it along. You see that a small arrow pointing down, is actually telling you where it is going to be. You just double click and hold like you would do any other thing in Word. Double click and hold the tab and then drag it along any position you want it to be. If you're also a designer and you use Coral Draw, this thing is, yeah, you find some of these things in there where you drag the tabs. You can drag tabs back and forth. Then if you want to actually copy, this time we are not moving, but you want to create a copy of the worksheet, you can also right click, use the same move or copy. Maybe I want to copy it to the end. But this time around, I come and select create a copy. Create a copy. So it won't move the sheet, but it will actually create a copy of the sheet like this. So you see that I have allowances here, then I have allowances into brackets 2. It automatically gives it a serial number 2 so that it will differentiate it from the other one. You can't have two sheets bearing the same name. So if I attempt coming here to name these allowances, it won't allow me. That name is already taken. And please, this is not peculiar to Excel. This is peculiar to programming. In programming, you cannot have, there's something we call variables in programming. You cannot have two variables with the same name in programming. Yeah, it is either their naming is different, that some characters are different or something of it, but you can't have two variables, the same name, the same structure in any programming language. If there's a programming language that does that, I'm here to know. But in programming, you don't do that. So this is not peculiar to Excel that cannot bear two tabs cannot bear the same name. It's not peculiar to Excel. It's actually a programming thing. So we have, sorry, I need to rename this. So I need to, yeah. So that is how you create a copy. Now let's just say that I don't want to create a copy, but you see I have this sheet 3. Probably the sheet name is payroll. I just name is something payroll, and I want to. Okay, payroll is not supposed to be here. Payroll is a bigger word for a bigger something. So we are talking about allowances, we are talking about these employees. Okay, I want to actually move the payroll and create an entire workbook on it. So if in this case, we would say something like, okay, I am actually tearing a sheet in my ledger book. Maybe I have ledger book A, ledger book B. So I want to tear a sheet from my ledger book A and then fix it in my ledger book B, which is something that shouldn't be done. Yeah, in real world accounting using manual tools, you don't do that. So I want to tear this sheet, tear it off, and then put it in another sheet or sorry, in another workbook. Or I want to tear that sheet and make it stand alone as a workbook on its own. So that when my auditors come, I will give it to them that okay, this is a separate workbook, not done anywhere. This is a separate ledger book. So I want to create a ledger book out of the worksheet. In order to do that, you do the same process. You right click, you come to move or copy. But this time round, you don't, Lucy, is it to book? There is to book, to book. It tells you book one. But this time round, we don't want book one. We want to create a new book. But you can see there is that opened workbook, the hands-on workbook is here. So if I want to move it to a different ledger book, I'll just select hands-on. So you see that it has listed every tab inside the hands-on workbook. I mean this workbook. This workbook. We are no longer calling it files. From now onwards, you won't hear files again. You will hear workbook, worksheets, and all that. So I want to move it here. So if I want to move it here, I can come here and then probably I want to move it to the end. I am moving it entirely. You can also create a copy. That way, the payroll sheet will still be here and it will also go there. It will still be here and also go into the other workbook. So let's just say I'm moving it entirely for now. So I'll move it and I click OK. Now you see it has disappeared from here. But when I come to my hands-on, it is here, payroll. It has moved from that workbook into this workbook. So all the data and everything in there will come here. But mind you, when we are advancing and we get to the stage that you are creating formulas inside of this and actually linking the formulas to other sheets, please, it's very dangerous to move when you know that these two sheets they are separate. Let's say this time round, I don't just want to move to a different sheet because probably I have no sheets opened. I have only one sheet. And I want to create an entirely new workbook out of this worksheet. So I come to the same, I right click again, I go to move or copy. But this time round, to book, to book, I'm actually not going to select any book, but I'm actually going to select new book, new book. With this same one too, you can either create a copy or move the book entirely. If you want to create a copy, always don't forget to select create a copy. But if you want to move the book entirely, don't create a copy. I want to move it entirely. So I just do this and I click OK. Now when you click OK, look here, a new book has been created. And that new book has only one sheet in there named payroll. Every data, or I should have entered some rough data previously so that you will see the data moving along with the sheet. But I quite believe everybody will understand that we can actually move it about. Let's try the same thing using this validation data. No, this one doesn't have data. Let's use this pivot tables. To probably these pivot tables I have here, I wish to create an entire workbook, or let's just say a ledger book out of this pivot table. This pivot table is a sheet. It's a sheet within this workbook, hands-on workbook. So I want to tear it out of here, or I want to like make a copy out of here. But whilst making the copy, I want to use it to create another workbook. I want to use it to create another workbook. So in trying to do that, I again right click and then I go to move or copy. I click on move or copy. Now, I have two options here. To remove the book, to remove that sheet entirely from this workbook, or to keep it in there and create a copy out of it. To create a copy out of it, always don't forget to check this box, create a copy. Whether you are moving it into the same workbook, or you are copying it into the same workbook, copying it into another workbook, or using it to create another workbook. Whether you are using it, whether you are copying it into the same workbook, or you are copying it into another opened workbook, or you are creating an entirely new workbook from that sheet. In my case, I want to create a new workbook from that sheet or using that sheet. So the first question it asks me, it's actually a statement, but I will say it is a question. Do you want to move the selected sheet to where? So to book, to which book? Now I'm not moving it to any book. I have 3 books opened here. I don't want to move it to any book, but I want to create a new book. I want to create a new book like this, new book. So you select new book. It won't give you a name, a book name or anything. It will just maybe book 1, book 2, book 3, depending on the number of books that are opened and named serially. I want to create a copy. So I select create a copy. Then I hit OK. Once I hit OK, you think you are not seeing any change, but there's a change. You see, it looks like all the other worksheets are gone. Actually, a new workbook has been created, which is book 4. Look up here. Book 4 has been created. So when we come here, you see that we now have the hands-on book, which is this one. We have book 4.2 here, which only contains the pivot tables. The pivot tables from here. I have actually created a copy of it, but by creating the copy, I created a workbook out of it. Now, if you have some formulas that are linking these two, we'll get to formulas, functions and formulas later on. If you have some functions or formulas that are actually linking these sheets, right now it is going to create that function. It's going to make it an external function of the web. For now, what I'm saying, if you are not somebody who has been introduced to functions and formulas, you'll be confused a bit. So let me not bother your head with anything. Let me just tell you that right now we have been able to copy that worksheet and created a new workbook out of that worksheet interface. So okay, so these are the page layouts. How you see things here, you can actually change the layouts down here when you come down here. So this first one is the normal view. Normal view. So the different type of views that we have in Excel. You have the normal view where you see everything normal. Then you can go to the page layout where actually it gives you, it divides your entire data into pages. So according to the layout that you have. If it is a landscape, it will try to rearrange. Right now we have a portrait kind of layout. So from what I did right now, it has divided the entire records into two, like horizontally, it has divided it into two. So we can scroll down. This is page. It is actually showing you that in case you attempt printing this entire work sheet. This is how you are going to see it. This is how the records are coming to come out. Are going to come out. Sorry. So this is how you are going to see it. So it gives you the page layout, and then the number of pages that you are going to even see is going to give to you. The same way when you come to, sorry, the same way when you come to the last one, which is also the, what's the name? The page break here. The page break. The page break actually tells you, it will divide it into pages and then show you where it is going to print. When you come to the page breaks, there's a lot you can do with it. As you go along, you will learn how this page break can help you design your entire interface to actually hold data in such a way that when you are printing, it won't go overboard. I can drag this dotted lines here and to squeeze the page when it is printing. When you use page break, you actually force your printer to come and pick what you are doing here than using its own logics. Something which can easily be done in here. You see, when you come to print, you have an option to actually change the margins, to do some custom scaling and all that. But when you come here to, you have an option to actually, so you see, country is showing here. When I push it back and I now want to print again, now check, country is now gone. It's now up to studio. So it's actually using the blue line. The printer will be forced to use the blue lines, the dotted ones, the main ones, to actually use the blue lines to decide where to print. So that is that about. And the normal view is not like the normal view. When you come to normal view, you can print anything you want. No. The normal view, once you come to all these views, when you come back, you come and realize that there will be some faint lines. Faint, but this is more visible than the original cell lines, original grid lines, sorry, that's cell lines. Original grid lines that is separating the cells and then the columns. This time I look at before country, you see the line here. The line before country is the country column is actually thicker than the rest of the grid lines. So that is to tell you that right now, that is where the printing is. But here you can't push. You can't push it. When you bring it, you have to come back to, why is this thing still showing? You have to come back here to be able to actually do your pushing to decide where the printing must happen. So now let's have a feel of the interface. So the interface, the home tab is basically, please mute your mic for us. The home tab is like the home tab you have in your Word, Access, Visio, and PowerPoint, and the rest. But there are some few things here that are not there. So the very ones I want us to look at are the, okay, we have the column, the borders. The border actually helps you to like put borders around your cells and all that. So I can have this one and just come and click all borders. When I click all borders, it will put all borders around my cells. If I select this one entirely and I come to um, outside borders, it will actually put it at the area I have selected, not on all the cells, but around, like group all the cells together and put the border around it. Um, this feature, I think when you go to Word, there is tables. When you go to tables, there's a way to manipulate this feature to there. But for those of you who didn't know, you can actually incorporate Excel into Word. When you are doing your financials inside Excel, you can actually incorporate an Excel sheet into Word, and it will still work fine. So when you double click on it, you see that you'll be working inside Excel. When you close that interface, your Excel sheet will appear like some kind of graded outline in there. I'll show you later on for those of you who don't know. Then we come to merge and center. I won't be looking at all of them because some of them are just common things that we do with other ones. So we have merge and center, where you can, the word speaks for itself. So we can merge across, we can merge and center. The merge across will actually not merge, sorry, will actually not center it. We just merge and then put, the basic one we are going to see is merge. We'll be using it. It's also one very cool feature to actually merge cells. So if I merge this, I'm actually going to have these cells merged. But mind you, one caveat here is that when you merge cells, you actually lose, you lose everything after the first cell. You lose every information after the first cell. So only the information in the first cell is going to cover the entire. So let's say I have these three cells. I want to select these three cells and merge them. So merge. When I merge, it's going to warn me that merging cells only keeps the upper left value and discards the other values. So if you click, everything will go. The three in nominations and Oscar wins, they will go. It will be only remained with the box office stuff. So that is about merging cells. That is about merging cells. Now we come to this one. This one is alignments. For these ones, you have to be constantly looking at them and having a feel of them. So this is for alignments. We'll be using them more, but something like these alignments, some of them are in Word. So if you are very familiar with Word, you should be familiar with these ones too. Then this one is wrap text. Now there's something funny about Excel. You can type anything you want and it won't go down. It doesn't know that you are typing outside of the cell. But if I type inside the next cell, you see, I typed in cell 14. When I typed in cell 14, let me remove what I typed in cell 15 right now. You are seeing this text as if I have typed in. You are seeing this text as if I have typed in cell. I want to make it larger. The date too is not allowed. Okay. Yeah. You may think I have typed in cell 14, 15, 16. No, I haven't done that. The information is only in cell. Now, before I go here, let me show you something. Something very, very important. Now, after the name box, there is what we call the formula bar. There is what we call the formula bar. The formula bar actually enables you to see the content. Let me not, for now, let me not say it enables you to type formulas. I won't go there. I'll just say that it enables you to, for now, keep it at the back of your mind that it enables you to see the content of the cell you are working with. It enables you for now, just have that notion that this formula bar, this is the formula bar, this entire thing, bar you see is the formula bar. And these are all parts of the formula bar. It actually helps you to insert formulas, functions, and we haven't gotten there yet. So the formula bar actually, you use, that's where you actually create your formulas and all that. For this, but the basic thing is that whatever is inside a cell, it displays them for you in full. So this thing I'm typing here right now, I can type and type and it will still be like it is on a straight line. Now, if I want to actually make it fit into the cell without overflowing, you use this wrap text. Once you click, when you select this and you click wrap text, it automatically breaks the text you have typed and keeps it, contains it inside the cell. So this time around, it doesn't overflow. So this cell, the text in there has been wrapped. So right now, if I continue to type, so right, you see, I'm not typing in the cell anymore. I'm typing in the formula bar. So I can continue to type, and this time around, as I type, it will just open up the cell either downwards or to the left or wherever. Like if I stretch it this way, it will just open up. Everything will be contained in it. But when I come to the down cell and I start to type, it now overflows into 15, 16, 17, and 18. But as a matter of fact, the text you are seeing here is not in 15, it's not in 16, it's not in 17. Because there is nothing in 15, 16, and 17. That is why you are seeing it as overflowing into it. When I type anything in 15 here, it will cut short. So right now you see that there is something in 15. Check the formula bar. Check from the formula bar. There is something in 15. What is in 15 is different from what is in 14. That is row 3, column 14. Row 3, column 14. I'm using the 14, 15, so you will understand. So that is that about wrapping text. So when you do this, you can use the alignment to actually position it in the middle, or position it at the top, or position it wherever that you want to position. Now, here we have the conditional formatting. Here you come to conditional formatting proper. So there's, we wouldn't touch on it that much. Then table formats. This we use this one to actually format your tables. Excuse me. You use that one to do table formatting, format your table like this one, as we have it here like this. Um, as we have it here like this. I can decide that, oh, this table, the part that I've selected, I want to create a table out of it, like format it this way. My table, oh no, let me remove my table has headers. Yeah, that is also another nice feature that enables you to do some filtering when you are working with it. I don't want, my table doesn't have headers. So it will just, it's still giving me the columns and everything. But don't worry, I just want you to see how you can, this table, the table feature also gives you that you can style the tables from here. And the same way you can style cells from here. So let's just see this cell. I want this cell to look like this. So that is that. I want this cell to look different from the others. So, but they have given these things some meaning. They have given it some meaning. So this is like accent 1, accent 2, used for headers, like highlighting some kind of text. So if this is an input, they've given it some kind of meaning, color coding and all that. So this is like bad. This thing represents bad. You can use to represent good. That doesn't mean that this is a standard. No, you can change the colors to what you want. If you want deep green, you can come here and then actually fill it to deep green. If you want the text to be white, you can come here, change the text to white. It all depends on you, how you want to do it. So the rest, you use this to insert cells. Sorry, we are not doing insertion of cells. I think it will be appropriate to say insert an entire column or entire row. So with this one that I've selected, if I hit insert sheet columns, it will create a new column in here for me. If I select a row and I tell it to insert a row like this, insert sheet rows, it will insert a new rule for me. You can be playing around these things. And we come to, for this one, we'll be looking at auto sum, this particular function, sorry, this particular tool in here. We'll be looking at how to use them. So we won't come here that much. When we get to functions and formulas, we'll look at it proper. Then we come to the insert. The insert, this is where we do all your insertion actually. All your insertion basically. Pictures, tables, shapes, icons, and everything. For this one, we'll be using some of them too along the line, but I'll ask you that in the course of the day, tomorrow, whenever you get time, just play around it, or before you sleep, play around these things. Then where this here to you do your pie charts and all that. But there's a way to actually insert charts. You do charting if you have checked. It's part of the sessions we'll be doing charting and all that. So that is that about the insert. Page layout is just like any other page layout. It's just like Word page layout. So I won't talk much about page layout for now. The only thing we'll be looking at critically when we get here is the print area. It's just like we were using the how do we call it, the page breaks. So we'll be looking at formulas. We won't touch it now because we will have a full session on formulas. So we won't touch it now. Then data, we won't touch data now. You have a full session on it. But let me see, formulas, this is where you come to use your functions to create formulas. You come to understand what functions formulas are and how to work around them. So formulas also helps you to do name ranges. So basically, I can tell you that this is the heart of Microsoft Excel. This is the heart. This tab is the heart of Microsoft Excel. The magic you can do here, you'll be surprised. At times you write functions, you write formulas, come back and wonder if you were the one who wrote it, because they can grow as you work with them. It's not like they grow on their own. You can grow it as you work with them. Then the data actually helps you to handle data within and without, data outside, external and internal data. You can use this tab to actually import data, export data, You can use it to connect to even a database. You can use this. Actually, you can connect. Excel is also a database on its own. I have softwares that I have a software called the SBAC. Those of you who know me in person, I have a software called the SBAC. That SBAC software, there is an aspect of the software that actually uses Microsoft Excel as a database, and it actually picks data from external sources, puts it in there, do the magic of calculation using formulas I've created for it. Then it will spew out the results, and then the software will catch the results and display to you. And I'm using it as a database. It's not a very reliable database, but if it is hidden from the view of the user, it's a very powerful database. Yes, that one I can assure you. So data, when you come into data, you can do a whole lot of things. You can create lists. You can work with your data here so that if it is combined, you can even separate them and all that. What if you can do analysis? Yeah, these two things. Formulas, the heart of Excel. Data also helps you to makes Excel more powerful as a database tool on its own. Then review is just like when you go to Microsoft Office, the review. The only caveat here is this protection, workbook protection, and allowing edit ranges. You can actually put this, you can actually create a workbook, put it on your network. Like let's say if you work in a bigger office where you actually access files on on the servers, you can put this on your server. And then when you put it on your server, you can allow access to those of you who are into networking, you get what I'm saying. You can allow access to other users, and then our time is up actually. And I don't want to take anybody's 1 minute prayer. I want us to work within time. But there's a lot more to learn. Like I was saying, what is within Excel, my brother, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked as to what Excel can do. If you don't take a, we won't be able to, but we won't be able to learn everything, by the way. Then the view is basically helps you to like what we did down there, the page breaks and all that. So it helps you do the page breaks, the layouts and all that. Yeah. The developer tab is always not there. By default, you will not see your developer tab. If you want to enable your developer tab, you go to File, you go to Options. This one I'm rushing to, so don't worry. You go to Options. Then you come down to your ribbon, customize the ribbon. So in your ribbon customization, you will see main tabs. There is even draw, which I haven't enabled. By default, draw and developer, they are disabled. I think in some cases you have add-ins disabled. You have add-ins even disabled, but the add-ins is inside the developer tab, by the way. Okay, mine is separated. So if I disable it right now and I click OK, developer tab will disappear. So I don't have developer tab again. But this is my add-ins. The add-ins actually helps you to connect other tools to your Excel. So for the help is help. Then you come here. So we'll be doing more. Tomorrow we shall be